This will be with regards to a person who puts forward acts of worship, but they contain within them hidden elements of showing off. This is a person who has dedicated years upon years of what he called worship and Quran and Salah and Taraweeh and Qiyam and fasting and dhikr and da'wah and a flawless hijab and enjoining good and forbidding evil and Islamic events and Islamic reminders and Islamic posts, and they see these good deeds in the form of mountains on the Day of Judgment, beautiful mountains, and to his horror they begin to crumble before his very eyes. Can you imagine their regret? That is because those good deeds, although they were huge, but they had holes within them. They were rotten. They had holes of showing off. They had holes of pride, holes of self-admiration, holes of self-promotion. Look at me, what I am doing, what I am up to, where I am found, what I am reciting, where I am praying. Holes of showing off. Thus those deeds come crumbling down on the Day of Judgment, causing regret. One of the scariest ayat from the Quran, as some of our predecessors they said, they will see with Allah Almighty that which they did not expect. A'udhu billah. As for the fifth cause of regret, this is when you find yourself being forced on the Day of Judgment to hand over your good deeds to somebody else. Or when you are forced to carry the sins of somebody, sins that you didn't even commit. Can you imagine what that means? Imagine on Yawm al-Qiyamah you are forced by the angels to hand over 2,000, 3,000 prayers to somebody else, to your neighbor. Can you imagine handing over 2 or 3 or 10 Ramadans worth of hard work and thirst and sacrifice to somebody else who didn't do it? Worse still, can you imagine carrying the sins of people, sins that you didn't commit? Imagine reading your book on the Day of Judgment and you find zina, fornication, wal-'iyadhu billah. You find adultery, you find alcohol, you find interest, you find pornography, you find sins that you didn't commit. Others have transferred them onto you, and now you have to find an answer before Allah for these sins that you didn't do. How can that situation take place? By oppressing another Muslim, by wronging another individual. Thus the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in the famous hadith which Imam al-Bukhari narrates on the authority of Abi Hurairah. He said, whoever of you has wronged his brother in any way, whether in regards to his honor or any other way, then make sure you beg his forgiveness today before a day comes where there will be no dinar and no dirham. He said, if you have good deeds on that day, he will be allowed to take from your good deeds depending on the size of your wrongdoing. If however your good deeds they run out before you pay your debt, then he will be allowed to transfer his sins onto you.